And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, director at WEIU TV and Radio. Today we're talking all things red, white, and blue days in Charleston. We have in studio Betty Johnson Coffrin.
How are you?
I'm good. Gary Grounds is also here.
Hello.
And Gary knows it's on TV today, so he's all dazzled up in his American Legion shirt.
That's right.
Still going to need you guys to move a little closer to those mics if you can a little bit. Red, white, and blue days. I mean, it's coming. I know a lot of people think it's only July 3rd and 4th, but really it starts a week out. So talk about what's coming up.
Well, we start off actually this Saturday on the 27th with our Red, White, and Blue car show, car and bike show, and go on from there, and we go on through the 3rd and 4th. So the 27th is a car show, 29th is bingo. We can get into detail. Yeah. I'm sorry, the 29th is a car show. 30th is bingo. 27th is the patriotic concert at Kiwanis Park. And then we start with July 3rd, the concerts, and vendors, and entertainment activities, all kinds of things. And July 4th is, of course, the same with, or no entertainment, but we have the vendors and the pancake breakfast by the American Legion. And the parade.
There you go. And we'll go over all the details in time so people can plan their events out here in Charleston starting this coming weekend. But the other thing you're doing, and I don't know that much about it other than Betty sent me some information, this walkway thing that you're doing, right. Getting some sponsors for to kind of show off some things. So talk about that if you could, Gary.
Sure. We come up with this idea last year when we were here. I don't know whether you remember it or not, probably do, but we dedicated a monument, Veterans Monument. And that was for the 4th of July that we did that. And then in the fall, the VFW and the American Legion teamed up, and we put together 2 veterans benches in there. And this year, the American Legion is putting a veterans walkway in there that will go from the south end of the circle around the flagpost between the pillars that hold up the bell and all the way out on the north end around the flag post and to the edge of the sidewalk there. It's going to be done in 4 phases, but the first phase will be done by the 3rd of July, and we almost have that full of veterans already.
That's awesome. So
it is.
If someone wants to get involved, what's the best way to do that? Or is to
well, when you take a look at it, if you want to add a veteran to it, there'll be a sign there, and there's part of it. It will be part of the walkway that'll tell you that you can pick up an order form at the park office or contact the American Legion, and our phone number and everything's on it, and fill it out and send it in, and we'll get it taken care of for you.
Cool. Betty, for the car and bike show, this was a new attraction just a few years ago, right?
Right.
Added when, where, and can people still get their cars and bikes in and talk about that?
Yes, I don't have all the details of the registration starts at I have to read here, 9 in the morning, and from 9 to 10:30 is registration, and then they will have their judging awards presentation at 1. And it's on the west side of Morton Park. No, I'm sorry, east side of Morton Park.
You're like me on directions, huh?
Yeah, the other west. But it's on the east side of Morton Park. They're on 2nd Street. And it's grown every year. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And, it's like not just cars and bikes. You can Jeeps and trucks and any number of things. But they're,
yeah. You have awards for the different categories and things like that?
Yes, they have several different awards. And Callie and Bucky Reddish have taken this on, and they just do a fabulous job.
They let Bucky out still, huh?
They still let him out. Yeah, on a leash, on a short leash.
There you go.
Callie's there.
There you go. We're not going to talk about the weather or anything, but, people do need to prepare because it's been very, very hot in Coles County, so make sure you are hydrating in all these events coming up. If it rains a little bit, whatever, but we'd basically be prepared for the heat and make sure you keep drinking. One of the things that we do, and we think about Butch Hackett every time we talk about it, but bingo is also a part of Red, White, and Blue Days.
Right.
So
it is.
I know it owns a special place in your heart.
Oh, it does. And his brother Dave has stepped up and taken on that. Dave Hackett, and of course, it started with Harold, their dad. Yeah. That was way back in the very, very first 1 or 2 Red, White, and Blue Days, and but we've got on June 30th, we're at the VFW where it's nice and cool and comfy, and we'll be opened up at 1. Games start at 2, and there may be an early bird game of bingo, but we've got some incredible prizes. I'm surprised at we divide up all the merchants, and I I am so happy with the generosity of all the merchants around town that we've gotten gift cards and baskets and all kinds of different things. So we've got a nice array of prizes to go along with the cash that they win.
There you go. June 27th, Gary, is the Free Patriotic Concert out there at Kiwanis Park. What can people expect out there that day? Do you know?
Patriotic songs, good music. Ginger, I think Ginger's still doing that, and she does a great job with it. And everybody looks forward to it. The place is usually packed. So you probably need to bring your lawn chairs early to get a good seat.
And that really kicks off the Red, White, and Blue Days on June 27th, 7:30 at Kiwanis Park at the Dome amphitheater there. Charleston Community Band will be playing. The Pancake Breakfast, to when, where, and how, and talk about what the American Legion does for that.
Okay, well, Betty said, they had starting a little early, but we've been working on this thing for probably 3 weeks, gathering materials and everything for it. But it's going to be on the 4th of July from 7 in the morning until 11. And then we close down at 11 and get ready for the parade and the service in the park on the 4th, and then the cleanup comes. But yeah, it's we're looking forward to doing that this year.
How many folks does it take to put on a gigantic pancake breakfast like this?
More than what we've got.
So you need some more volunteers, what you're saying?
Actually, usually the day of the actual breakfast, we usually have several people that volunteer to help, but it's all the preliminary work that we have trouble with. And a lot of the Legion members are older people, and it's hard to, you don't know whether they're even going to feel like doing it or not, you know. So it's quite a job for us. And it's hot for people to get out and work like that, too.
Yeah. And it's 7 to 11 that day, right?
7 to 11, yes.
And teardowns are going to be right in the middle of probably the warmest part of the day, unfortunately. Right. Betty, let's go through some of the events on July 3rd. We're talking to Betty and Gary Grounds today from the Charleston Red, White, and Blue Days. It's kicked in right. Well, everybody likes to kind of know what's happening, so let's go to July 3rd and see what's going to go on that day.
Well, on the 3rd, about 3 o'clock, we're going to have the vendors open. We're going to have a variety of different foods. Our focus has always been primarily the non-profit organizations like Knights of Columbus, Central Christian Church, the Moms Club, and Kiwanis are the ones we have lined up so far. We're going to have a couple of food trucks to supplement that to help feed the crowd. But food trucks start, they're going to start that morning, or what did I say? About 3 in the afternoon. Yeah. Then we get into the concerts. At 6:30, we've got the opening act, Dylan Schneider. And at 7:45, in between shows, we're going to introduce Little Miss and Mr. Firecracker, which has been brought back this year for the first time. We've not done it for the last several years, but someone decided they wanted to do it again, so we welcome volunteers. We're also going to have introduction to the Farmer of the Year. The Farm Bureau's chosen a farmer among themselves.
Who's that going to be?
I don't know. I honest to goodness do not know until they walk.
I always try every year, and she never gets
I try to get it every year, Jeff, but I never make it. It'll be tough for me this year because I didn't even plant a garden.
Yeah, I know. I have 2 tomato plants. Then at 8 o'clock, we have of course, another free concert, and that's featuring our main performer, Ashley Cook.
And she just won an award, you were telling me?
Yeah, Country Music Award. I don't know what the title was, but it was like rising up and comer, whatever. But she just won that after we'd already got her under contract. So we had a lot of interest in having her here. A lot of people are excited about it. So we're going to have another fun pre-concert that night.
And the cool thing about these 2 performers, Dylan Schneider and Ashley Cook, which basically, they are going back to back with a little the stuff in between. They both have some local ties, which I think is really cool. Can you talk about the localness of them?
Well, Dylan Schneider is, of course, from Terre Haute. And I was talking to some friends from Marshall when we were first talking about him, and they said, oh, yeah, everybody's really excited about him in that area. So, that's one, as I understand it. Ashley's tour manager or road manager, I don't know what they call it. Anyway, has a local tie here to Eastern, with
Dan Cruz.
Dan Cruz, I know.
Our retired
I didn't have it written down.
Dan Cruz, who used to run Dowden and a lot of the promotions here.
Right.
So yeah. And Dan was a DJ at WELH, which preceded WEIU way back when. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
and I'm sorry, Dan. I just drew a blank.
I didn't forget your name, Dan. Well, I actually wrote it down, but that's okay. No, Dan's a good guy. So that's kind of cool that there's local ties, so people are going to come out and see some up and coming musicians, but who are really who have ties here to Central Illinois, which I think is always fun to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Jeff, I'd like to say that I've been around for a long time, and Red, White, and Blue Days always has great concerts and great entertainers, and it's all free. Yeah. So it's a good way to spend an evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the price is right. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
When you think
Yeah,
about it.
I get phone calls, want to know ticket prices. It's not listed on their website. It's free. Bring a lawn chair. Support our vendors. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And maybe get gas and have a snack before or after in town. It doesn't hurt at all when you do things like that. Can you take us through the process, when you decide that we want to go after Dylan and we want to go after Ashley? Can you take us a little bit through that, how that works, or do you know?
Well, it starts long before anything's public, but we start when they come back in off of the road after the end of the summer touring season. The prices we have a price range that we only have so much money, and so then we work with a variety of attractions. We have worked with them since day one, and they go through all the process and with all these entertainers, and we just go through a list and check the popularity levels, their price range, and it's quite a process. We've had a couple of people under contract, but then they get a chance to move on to do something else, and they have to back out, not under contract, but
like a
verbal contract. So it's nothing is final until we have it, two signatures on the same piece of paper.
There you go. But you think about it, and I mean, it all. I always say it started with Arcola Broom Corn when they had a guy named Garth Brooks, and no one knew that was going to be, and that ended up working out all right. Yeah. And so when you think about some of the people that have played Red, White, and Blue Days in the past, there's some big names. Do you remember some?
Oh, absolutely. The one that when I mentioned, Trace Adkins was on his way up at one point, believe it or not, and. He was one of those where we had a verbal contract and didn't quite have everything signed and sealed, and he had a chance to move in a different direction, which was going to be helpful to him, obviously. And he agreed to come back the next year at the price we had agreed on for the first year, which was a real plus for us.
That's a big name.
Have a nice act like that. Jaco and any number of people.
Tracy Bird?
We had Tracy Bird. Yeah. I didn't bring the list, but we've got some pretty amazing people. Ronnie Millsap was one of my favorite people to work with.
He had Aaron Tippin, too.
Yeah, we had Aaron Tippin. Yeah, he built a bike while he sang his working man song. Yeah.
Multi-talented.
Oh, yes, he is.
There you go. I haven't heard that name in a while, so that's cool. Now let's move on to, of course, the July 4th, Independence Day, 2024. Gets underway real early in the morning, I heard.
Yes, it does.
For some people, right?
For some people, yes. Of course, we've got the 4 for the 4th. That's Habitat for Humanity. That's their 4-mile run walk. That's one of their major fundraisers. And they've been with us for several years, and so they get their runners out there. I don't have the time, but it's on our webpage.
6 a.m.
Well, is the registration on what time they take off.
Oh, it's even earlier than
what time they get back. But then 9 o'clock we have the chalk-in. The Coles County Arts Council does their annual chalk-in, and that's really fun. If you don't want to get down on your hands and knees and draw a picture, at least go out there and look at the artwork. That some of these people are so talented with chalk and a piece of pavement. 9:30 is a pet parade, and that's sponsored by the 4-H Dog Spin Club, and 2 of the girls on our committee work with the pet parade, and it is so much fun. We've had everything from dogs, of course, a lot of dogs, but then we've had, my favorite was the turtle in the bucket, But the Charleston Police Department, the K-9 unit, and some of the other officers are there to judge that show, and everyone gets a prize, and they're very creative on what their prizes are. Best whatever, best dress, best whatever, best mark. It's fun. But then, of course, the Legion Pancake Breakfast that Gary talked about. Inflatables, we've got inflatables. We're going to have our vendors again. And one thing I did not mention, on the night of the 3rd and the day of the 4th, we're going to have our all-you-can-eat ice cream for $3.
Wow.
And that's another one of our major fundraisers for this committee, and to pay for the entertainment. Like I say, the inflatables and as many crafts or games that we can have. The 1 o'clock is the parade, and it'll come right down the west side of Morton Park. It comes from the town square through town, down the west side of Morton Park, and then we have the patriotic bell ringing. And this year, we are going to have the firefighters, Charleston Fire Department, have a representative to ring the bell, because this is their 150th year of being a fire department. So I'm looking forward to recognizing them, because they're actually with us from day one, with the planning, the incident action plan that has to be put together for an event like this, who to contact in case of bad weather, whatever. And they've just been great to work with in the parade, in the event. So they're due some recognition.
Oh, and with the 150th, it makes
Exactly.
it makes perfect sense for them.
I suppose they're still going to have the fire truck out there to spray the kids down, aren't
Yes, they will. That's an annual, and I should put that on the list as an annual tradition, because
Right.
they put the fire truck, the big hose out there on Division Street, and
Right.
those kids just have a ball. Yeah.
they? Right.
And then that evening, your jobs are kind of done after the
Yeah, we're
bell
usually-
ring. Get a little afternoon siesta in before
Right.
the fireworks out the
Right.
Coles County Memorial Airport. So,
Right.
And that's kind of been an annual event too. Anything special out there or new this year?
Not that I'm aware of, because that's taken care of by a different, Charleston and Mattoon together, and it's a phenomenal showing, I think.
Are you going to be there?
No,
That's
I'm
what-
sorry, I have company.
Oh,
And your feet
We'll
will
sit
be
at-
hurting by then, right?
Yeah, and we usually sit on the deck and hear it.
There you
That's
go.
it.
right.
Gary, I want to go back to the pancake breakfast for a minute. Do you guys
Yes,
keep
sir.
track of how many pancakes that you sell?
Well, not how many pancakes, but last year we served over 400 people.
So this year we should shoot for 500, you think?
I don't know. Well, I'm going to be the runner, so I'm hoping that I'm running back and forth to the store many times. I think we're set to do about 500 people.
Okay, well, that'll be cool. It's a good number. It's a good.
But we can do more. If we get more, we'll do them.
There you go. What on the day of the events? I know the 3rd and the 4th. What are your two areas' major responsibilities when you have to think about what you're doing all those days on the 3rd and the 4th? So,
Well, for me, it will be the pancake breakfast and making sure that the Veterans Walkway is in place and good to go. One thing I forgot to say about that, Jeff, is that if somebody wants on it, there's 4 sizes that are available. We have a 4x8 size, which is a single, like paver size.
yeah.
And it's not a paver, it's paver size. But we're Adams Memorial is the one's putting it in for us, and it's going to be a 4x8 solid sheet of granite with phase 1, and they'll be divided up into sections. And we have so it'll be the 4x8 inch size, 8x8, which is a double paver, 8x16, and then 16x16, depending on what you want. But then after that, that's phase 1. Then we'll lay another sheet, be phase 2, and then another sheet, phase 3, and we're hoping to get that full. And we've got all the granite already, so that when we lay the second sheet of granite, it will match the first sheet, so we
That's
don't
cool.
have different tones.
That's a cool event
It's
for
really
sure.
nice. It really is.
Now, Betty, what about you on the 3rd and 4th? What's your major area that where are you hopping around at?
Well, on the 2nd, of course, is the day that they bring in the stage. They set up the tent, and that's the hospitality area behind the stage. It's just a lot of busy stuff, and the porta potties. Have to be there for show them where they go. Then on the morning of the 3rd, when they come in, they will. I think the first. I don't know which one it is going to get there first, but they will roll in about 10 o'clock, and they want breakfast. So my job is to keep the hospitality area going. We have a caterer, and so just food, water, keep them happy. We have a runner. One of our committee, Tony, is Depots loans us a van, and we have to run them from the venue to their hotel room because they have to have a hotel room to. The bus driver takes a rest. The others have to you have to catch a shower after sound check and that sort of thing. We also have to have loaders, and fingers crossed we have enough loaders. And security, that sort of thing. So I'm usually in the back in the hospitality area, just do whatever's necessary, whatever needs to be done. But
One thing I wanted to add too that I forgot to say, I think Betty's going to be at the pancake breakfast selling or taking donations for the pavers and taking orders for those. If people want to sign up for that at that time, they'll be able to do that.
I'll just
Look for the world famous Betty Coffrin.
Sure. I'll have on my shirt that looks like Gary's. I'm so glad we didn't look the same.
And Gary is very patriotic today if you're watching on
No
51.6 or WEIU today. So that's good. No, nothing wrong with that. It's that time of year you start to feel more patriotic. What's the toughest part? I mean, when you think about what's the toughest part of putting on a Red, White, and Blue Days?
It's also automatic now. Not a lot. One of the nicest parts, what makes me feel good about doing all the stuff that we do, and it's not just me. We've got a wonderful committee. They're just very shy. They just don't want to be out there. But just the fact that when the entertainers start on stage and you can see people enjoying the show, they're in their lawn chairs, they're with their neighbors and friends and enjoying food from our vendors. And it's just a nice feeling to see the community enjoy it.
Also, we haven't said anything about the park. The park puts a lot of work into that, keeping that park looking good, and that's a great place to have this event. Really a nice facility.
Yeah, right in the middle of the town.
Right.
Plenty of shade, some pavilions,
Right.
things like that, so people aren't just getting waylaid by the sun as much.
It's always cooler,
Right.
about at least 10 degrees cooler in the park because of all the shade.
Right.
And to add to what you were saying, that last year, we had that windstorm right before. It was like the 29th of June.
Right.
I don't know when it was, but they had that park cleaned up,
Totally
and they had a
cleaned.
lot
Totally
of
cleaned.
wind damage in that park. And they're easy to work with, great to work with, very helpful.
Right.
And go above and beyond. And this year they fought cicadas.
At least those things are gone.
Yes,
Gone.
thank
It appears
goodness.
they're gone.
God.
Park rules and parking, what should people obey, and then where should people park?
Well, they have 2 or 3 different parking areas. The park does on the east side of 2nd Street. There are 2 parking lots there. Parking areas all around the park. I'm not sure if they've added more. I haven't been out there lately, but we always recommend that people park at O'Brien and walk. It's only a block and a half or so to the venue. That way they don't have to, So we've not had a really issue with parking. There is handicap parking on both sides of the park. Not a lot, but there is some.
Yep.
So.
And special park rules, anything people should know? I mean, obviously no alcohol and things like that.
That's standard. A lot of people, some people bring their own coolers, like soft drinks or whatever they want to bring. That is a park rule, though, no alcohol in the park.
And
Pets have to be on a leash. No firecrackers
Yeah,
and
that's what
fireworks,
it says.
please. And that's not on the list of rules, but
Yeah.
we asked for that.
Yeah, makes
So,
sense.
be a nice neighbor, be a nice friend.
We have a few minutes left today with Betty Coffrin and Gary Grounds of Charleston's Red, White, and Blue Days. Can you talk about the history and the start of Red, White, and Blue Days and how we got to, 2024 and it's still going strong and things are still happening and it's growing?
Well, the way this started, and I love this story because I'm the only original person left on the committee, and that's not because they quit. It's
That's because you started so young.
I was quite. No. The 233rd Military Police Unit was activated during Desert Storm. That guard unit. Paris Transportation was activated. Various different National Guard units were activated during Desert Storm. John Morrissey and I were in Rotary together. And we were getting so much misinformation about, the troops, are they getting our letters, they get our care packages or not. We just decided we wanted to have a little parent group, family group, whatever. And so we would just get together and just share information. They had, mainly at the Moose Club in Charleston. We get together and just have a little meeting and share information. And then when it was over, our families all came home. President Bush at the time, George H.W., declared July 4th a national day of celebration. And bless their hearts, 2 or 3 or 4 that I could name off the top of my head, Vietnam veterans said, we want to have a better welcome home for these guys than we had. And that was, so they joined forces with us, and we put together, we raised money for that Desert Storm Monument that's out at the park now, and thought we'd have a little parade, a little caravan through town, and a dedication ceremony for that monument. Well, then it grew from there because we had some entertainment. Mike Nichols did the sound for us on a hay wagon or whatever, with a flatbed. I can't remember what groups played. I have it, but it's just,
And what year was
it?
it?
Grew. It was in 1991. Yes.
There was one of those years that it was back when they were having the entertainment on the square, back when it was going to be the Petunia Festival.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
And,
yeah.
And my band played for one of those events down there on the square.
Yeah, we tried to tie all that together. And, yeah, but this one just carried on.
Yeah.
Giving credit to Mike Ziepke, he came in my office one day there at the courthouse, and he said, I think we need to, it was like 2 or 3 years into it, he said, I think we need to take this up to the next level. He said, get some name entertainment. I mean, we had used the local entertainment to death at that point. And so that's when we started to look at national acts, and he kind of broadened our horizons a little bit. And so then we started with an actual stage, and it's gone ever since.
There you go. So
Yeah.
if 91, this is what, I'm terrible at math. 34?
34th
Okay.
year. We took 1 year off for COVID.
So next year's a big year then, 35 next year. So you guys will have to come back at least next year, all right?
Okay.
If we live through this one.
You're going to. About a minute left. Anything that we forgot about Red, White, and Blue Days that you guys want to get the word out to the communities that's coming up, starting really this Saturday and going through the 4th?
Come out and support the vendors.
Yeah.
If you don't support them, they won't come back. So we want you to come out and support the vendors.
Support the
Have a good
vendors.
time.
Exactly. Enjoy. Just enjoy.
So I always have to ask a couple unrelated songs or questions at the
I was
end just to
trying to
have
think
fun.
of what that would be before I got
Favorite patriotic song? Either one of you.
Star Spangled Banner.
That's a good one.
here. Yeah. God bless America.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite historical or patriotic movie that you love to watch?
I don't think I do. I never.
Yeah.
The only reason I ask is I watched that Manhunt, the story of Abraham Lincoln, and then John Wilkes Booth this weekend. I know it's not really patriotic, but it does kind of makes your the hairs on your arm tingle when they're talking about.
Saving Private Ryan would be one of mine that I've seen recently, rewatched recently.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you both today.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
coming in, Betty.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Johnson,
us.
Coffrin, and Gary Grounds. Red, White, and Blue Days. Look it up. Be there. We are WEIU.